Hello there, my very good friends. On today's wrestling news, is that how we start these?
I think so.
Can't really remember, kind of rusty. But on today's video, we're going to talk about the current chaos surrounding the WrestleMania 40 main event.
A backstage update following a scary finish to a match on Monday Night Raw.
We've got news of a backstage RAH-RAH meeting following Kevin Dunn's departure, R.I.P. Bozo.
And why Dragon Lee can't wrestle for WWE right now. I'm Adam Wilborn.
And I'm Andy Murray.
Happy New Year. And this is the news.
Having the time of our lives. Let's talk about the WrestleMania 40 main event, because it's all anyone is talking about online and in various spaces today. And hey, look, we are online, so it's a relevant discussion. The Rock returned last night to Raw.
So did Jinder, but
he sure did. Obviously, you know, Fightful had reported over the weekend, hey, there's going to be a former WWE champion on day one. Triple H tweeted like a couple of hours later going, yes, there is. And all weekend everyone was speculating, everyone was going, hey, what if it's Mercedes Moné, the former Sasha Banks, she's a former women's champion. What if it's Andrade? He's a former, we'll talk about him later, by the way. He's a former NXT champion. It kind of turned out to be Jinder Mahal.
Yeah.
So when they brought him out, I was like, Vince, is that you? Are you back? Because it seemed like the ultimate kind of like troll move.
Yeah, it was personified by someone in the crowd. There was loads of people stood up when they're like, here it comes, here it comes. The moment Jinder Mahal's music hit, he went up.
Yeah, cheesy peeps. But fortunately, it was just like a diversion.
Yeah.
And The Rock came out and he got his obligatory gigantic pop. He did his usual shtick. You know what? I tweeted this morning. I should be so bored of The Rock. Like, he's barely evolved his shtick in like 20 years. It's like, it's so outdated. It's barely even funny anymore. And yet I laugh and I pop for every joke.
If I was there, I would have been chanting day one douchebag without question.
Yeah, The Rock rules.
Yeah.
He sucks, but he rules.
Yeah.
He's the best of all time.
And he's potentially ruined Cody's WrestleMania.
Yeah. So The Rock came out and he bantered Jinder off and he beat him up. He blah, 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 blah. Afterwards, he got the microphone and in a very contrived way, he was like, hey, San Diego, I'm going out for food. Where should I sit?
Should I sit in the booth?
Should I sit at the bar?
Oh.
No, I'm going to sit at the head of the table. Obviously, that's the most overt tease yet of Rock versus Roman, a match that has been speculated for years. Complicates the WrestleMania situation somewhat because Cody Rhodes, after losing at WrestleMania 39, the widely held opinion was that he'll finish the story at 40. Well, now The Rock's back, and oh yeah, CM Punk's back as well.
Jeez.
What the hell do we do?
I genuinely don't know. I had such weird mixed emotions for this because I want Cody to finish the story, but I'm also a huge fan of The Rock. The Rock was my guy growing up, and Rock versus Roman is such a fascinating story with the bloodline and what have you. But I still want it to be Cody, and I don't know the way WWE works right now. In Vince's day, you were like, cool, well, that's Cody out of WrestleMania. It's all very different with Triple H in charge now. Do they make it a triple threat? I think that makes no sense really in terms of it just muddies the water of both stories.
It's really complicated. I will say, I think it's a really great problem to have.
Oh, yeah.
Because heading into WrestleMania season, you've got Cody Rhodes, hotter than the surface of the sun. You've got CM Punk, hotter than the surface of the sun. And you've got The Rock, who is The Rock. So,
yeah.
Like, it's a really...
Prior to this, admittedly, no women in the main event of WrestleMania, probably, which is a bit disappointing. But prior to this, you were like, it will finally work out because Punk Rollins night one, Roman Cody night two, and now The Rock's gone, hello.
Yeah, he just popped up when you maybe kind of expected him, but not so much. Look, I love The Rock. I think he kind of sucks, but I love him. So my favourite main event for WrestleMania is still Cody and Roman because it's the purest wrestling story. However, curious to know what the people down below in the comment section think. Do you want Cody versus Roman? Do you want Roman versus Punk? Do you want Roman versus The Rock? Do you want some kind of triple threat? Or
who wins the Rumble?
Let us know your WrestleMania 40 main event fantasy booking down in the comment section below. Make it a spicy one because there's lots of good options.
Yeah, I'll be going through all of Raw on the Raw review completely on my own later on today because the Dudley boys are taking a few well-earned days off, although they admittedly would probably rather be in the office right now to talk about all this. But yes, it was day one at Monday Night Raw last night. 2 championship matches on there. And a match involving, well, 2/3 of Imperium against Jey Uso and Kofi Kingston. A bit of a scary finish, that match. It wasn't really a finish, to be perfectly honest. Basically, Giovanni Vinci came off the top and was meant to be countered by a Kofi Kingston drop kick, which he hit, but it all went a bit awry, and then Giovanni Vinci didn't really move. The referee waved it off, the doctor came in, they just declared Jay and Kofi the winners as a result of that. Thankfully, though, if you were concerned about Giovanni Vinci, as I'm sure we all were, he's apparently fine after that spot. He was seen walking to the back of his own volition after the contest, and he's since tweeted, "Sto bene, grazie mille," which roughly translated means "I'm fine, thanks a lot," which is a relief because I think Vinci is one of the most underrated guys on that roster.
Really weird finish, like in real time when you were watching it, because it wasn't immediately obvious that he'd become hurt straight away. The way the move was shot, like it's difficult to see when it's in full speed. But then when you see the slow motion replay, you're like, oh yeah, okay, the boot accidentally hit him in the face. So total mistake. Scary moment always when you see a doctor enter the ring and there's a bit of confusion and the crowd's like, what's going on? It's always a little bit troubling. However, it's good to hear that he's tweeted that he's fine. I'm sure we'll get a more concrete medical update on the guy at some point if it's not dropped already. But yeah, it was just a bit of a bummer moment on what was a pretty good Raw.
I really enjoyed Raw, yeah.
So yeah,
no blame on Kofi, by the way. These things happen, obviously.
Yeah, it's wrestling. These things occur, and glad to hear that Vinci's doing okay. But hey, listen, we're back this afternoon with some AEW news.
Yes.
This is a very WWE-centric video. If that's not your jam, we'll be here later on with some MJF stuff, some Mercedes stuff, some Andrade stuff. Check that out in just a few hours. 2 p.m. UK time. I think that's 9 a.m. on the East Coast.
I never know.
Clocks. Anyway, speaking of Coldplay, let's talk about Kevin Dunn. Right, so this
seems like a very Kevin Dunn band, Coldplay.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I like Coldplay and The Fray. That's it. Right, Kevin Dunn. His WWE tenure, his 40-year WWE tenure, has come to an end.
Would you say he's been cut? Huh?
Hey, there you go. He's gone.
Yeah.
He resigned. That broke over the weekend while we were away, obviously, but wanted to kind of rope the conversation in today because it's a very big deal in WWE. But there was a bit of a backstage RAH-RAH meeting last night ahead of Raw, following Dunn's departure a little bit. PW Insider Mike Johnson reporting on this. They were rallying the troops. Nick Khan and Triple H. It was a short and positive get-together. One source described it as a great meeting with Khan and Levesque. Levesque, that's Triple H.
Yeah.
Levesque. They thanked everyone who was there for everything they've done and will do for the company. That sounds ominous. Well, thank you for what you will do for the company. So Nick Khan had circulated a memo in WWE following Dunn's departure saying, hey, we're going to hold a meeting before Raw. Be there. And he just kind of put Dunn over, thanked him a lot, like shaped the company into what it is today, which is entirely true. He has been like an executive producer, whatever his job title was, a very inspirational, influential figure in that company for years and years. Even, I personally found his production style quite nauseating with the camera cuts, and I know I'm not alone on that. Very close Vince McMahon ally. This had been rumored for ages, but he's finally got. Look, he resigned. He didn't get binged off or anything like that. So there you go, Kevin Dunn.
He'll be absolutely fine. He's got more money than he can possibly know what to do with. I think this year is going to be absolutely fascinating for WWE. We sort of said this at the start of last year, and then the coup happened, and Vince came back, and then TKO and blah blah blah. After last year, after the last few years, I have no idea what to predict, but I'm very excited to see what direction WWE goes in this year.
I'm very excited for all mainstream American wrestling in 2023, 2024.
Yeah.
WWE shedding a guy whose production style I really don't like him. For me, like as a consumer, WWE's production is like one of the big things I don't really care for about the product. It's a bit glossy, it's a bit Ed Sheeran, it's a bit polished, like a bit of grit in there. So that's a positive change. WrestleMania looks really positive, and if AEW is moving back to a more sport-like framework as well, it's going to be a good year.
Oh yeah, and if you want to keep up with all the coverage of that, of course, make sure you hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, ding ding, done.
I would put the graphic on, but I don't have the editing skills. I'm an idiot.
What the hell's going on with Dragon Lee? Where is he? He came in, burst onto the scene on Friday Night SmackDown. He's been missing for a while. North American champion, of course, defeating Dominic Mysterio at the end of last year. But there's a very obvious, sensible reason why he's not been on telly recently, or why he won't be. Well, he might be actually very soon, because he's got visa issues, basically. he is going to miss tonight's NXT New Year's Evil special. He had been scheduled to team with the LWO, or the LWO's Wild and Del Toro against Drew Gulak, Miles Bourne, and Damon Kemp. But yeah, that's not happening because of the visa issues, although he did say that the LWO had a big surprise in store instead. Mike Johnson of PW Insider has some good news around this, though. His new work visa, not Mike Johnson's, Dragon Lee's, has been approved. Holiday season, blah, blah, blah. He's expected back in the US relatively soon. Might be back in time for SmackDown this week. No promises on that one. But the usual, yeah. There's no worrying reason behind him being missing from TV, just admin issues.
Yeah,
basically.
the too long didn't watch version of this is that it didn't arrive in the post because everyone was on holiday. That's literally it. But it's a bit of a bummer that he has to miss tonight's show, I guess. Even though it's only a 6-man, and maybe we'll get like a fun surprise instead. That could be cool.
I'd say Ray then, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But I'm intrigued to see who it is.
Yeah, it'd be a good time.
Love NXT, man.
I love New Year's Evil.
Yeah.
That brand is just...
The weird sort of creepy devil baby.
You know I'm in for like creepy devil stuff. So
right, let's
go.
Let's move over to your Twitter questions at What Culture WWE. Of course, if you want to get in touch with us. First question today comes from Dan of the Dragons, who says, "Morning, gents. Morning, Dan.
See where Dragon Lee is? Dan of the Dragons.
Yeah, it's his brother. Hope you had a fantastic, well-earned break. Assuming it's Rollins versus Punk and Cody versus Roman for Mania. If The Rock and Austin are available, what would you have them do?
Rock versus Austin 4.
Yeah, do it again.
Why the hell?
I wouldn't be surprised. The way I'm booking the WrestleMania card, I'll be like, yeah, stick on the kickoff.
You know what I would do? I have no idea. Why did I say that?
I don't know. I don't know what you do. Like, you could easily... I mean, what do you do with Austin?
You know what? I've spoken out against this in the past, right? And I still don't think it's optimal. But if they really want to have their cake and eat it, they could just do Rock and Roman for no title on like the second night, and then do Cody on the first night, so it's more about him. Like his victory.
You could do. I suppose you could do it the other way around. You could do Rock Roman.
Yeah, that's probably
one,
better actually.
And then it's like, well, Cody's fighting someone. Unless Cody fights someone on night one as well, Cody can fight Austin on night one.
As far as Austin goes, who is a safe asshole that he can just beat up?
Yeah, because
Chad Gable.
There you go. We were booking Austin versus Punk at one point, weren't we?
Yeah.
And now, obviously, Punk's presumably fighting for the world title at Mania. So, I don't know. Tag match? Rock and Austin versus some poor bastards?
Yeah, Rock and Austin.
A-Town Down Under, the way that they're being booked.
The awesome truth out.
I tell you what.
Everyone's jonesing for that for some reason.
I tell you what. Rock and Austin versus Pretty Deadly could be loads of fun.
That's actually really good, yeah. I mean, I'm in.
There you go. Or just put them in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal.
Yeah.
That would be hilarious.
It's
not actually going to be on SmackDown this year because we've got 2 Hall of Famers in it.
Just make sure Austin doesn't land on his knees on the way out. Gee whiz, poor guy.
I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if they make the card, but I don't want them fighting for world titles, either of them.
No.
Sorry, Stephen and Dwayne. John Thornsbury gives us our second question of the day. John says, "Good morning, Happy New Year." Happy New Year, John. Who do you think will be Samoa Joe's first challenger now he's AEW champion?
Swerve. I think that, like, I love the title change. I love Samoa Joe. I think that Samoa Joe's going to be something of a transitional champion, and I think Swerve is going to challenge and beat him within 6 to 8 weeks, and I think that will lead to Swerve versus MJF much later in 2024. We'll talk about MJF later on by the second video, but I think that'll be it, and I think you'll see a title change. Swerve is too hot to ignore, so let's do it.
Yeah, there's a bit of me that's like, well, Kingston obviously he's just had this huge victory, but I disagree with people with the bad faith takes of like, well, they've put the title on Joe now, so you can't do Joe versus Swerve because that's heel versus heel. Joe's not really a heel, is he?
Yeah,
he's just an ass kicker.
This is the thing, everyone loves Joe. Even if he's a heel, they still go, Joe. So, like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And Swerve is really over as well. Like, people are really going to love that match.
I think it really depends, on who they book against Joe, because it's one of those ones where normally your first title challenge is, well, if you're a man in AEW, it's Lance Archer. If you're a woman, it's Nyla Rose, and you automatically retain the title.
Yeah.
But it'd be fun after such a long reign for MJF, and I don't want to take the title off Joe super fast, but they need to strike while the iron's hot with Swerve as well, and I think you've already made, Joe, in terms of like what a turnaround he's had over the last couple of years in AEW. Yeah.
This year in particular, he has been awesome.
Yeah.
Like, he has been so awesome. And it's been really gratifying because for years, people were like, Samoa Joe's cooked, Samoa Joe's fried. And like, he's physically not what he used to be. Of course not. Like, he's had a really long, hard-hitting career. But his aura, his presence, and the way he has adapted his working style.
Yeah. You think he's cooked? Why don't you tell that to his face?
Yeah, exactly. He will cook you, sir, if you do that.
Final question today comes from Castorol, from the Castorol Pod. Thank you for the question. One male, one female. Who is going to have the biggest year?
Ooh, this is a good question. I mean, like, if you want to be boring about it, you could just say Cody Rhodes.
Yes.
But let's go for some more obtuse picks. I'm going to say Swerve. I think he's going to win the World Championship. I think he's going to have an awesome run. I think that he had a really great 2023, and I think he's going to have an even better 2024. Yeah,
it's one of those, you can take this in a variety of different ways. One of the biggest years, arguably, CM Punk. Because if he's still with WWE at the end of this year, what's that going to look like?
If he makes it.
Yeah. Because people are saying he's not going to make it till WrestleMania, so if he does the entire year, it's a huge year for him. I'm going to pick people in terms of like potential as well. I'm going to say Tiffany Stratton.
I was going to say her.
That's the, if you didn't see what she did with Becky Lynch in NXT, this is the year she breaks out on the main roster.
Yeah.
Same with people like Bron Breakker. They're going to jump up to the main roster and just, he's going to kill people. Yeah. And it's going to be awesome to watch. And in terms of like, AEW, Swerve, I'm intrigued to see what Mariah May does because I don't really know a lot about her, but I've heard great things, and I think that the story's right there. Obviously, it's a really exciting time to see new talent burst through it in 2020. Takeshita, let's put a foot down with him.
Yeah. Speaking of like Japanese wrestlers, Julia, she's half Italian.
Of course, yeah.
But I think she's going to sign with WWE and become the biggest wrestler in the world. So, I mean, not the literal biggest, but gigantic. So I'm putting her down as well.
Your picks as well in the comment section below. Join us for the news this afternoon, and while you're at it, check out this video.
Boom.
Bye.
See ya later. In a couple of hours.